Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Amy and I'm currently on a journey to repay 6 figures worth of student loan debt. Today I am back with another video in our October closeout series. If you watched my video from Friday, I did a debt recap for the month of October, and today we will be talking about our budget recap for October. So exactly what income we brought in and exactly how we spent it. These are some of my favorite videos to film every single month. I absolutely love just taking a look back at the month and making sure that we are spending our money in the way that we want to be spending it. I think it's so important to close out your budget, almost as important as it is to have a budget in the first place. It is equally important to close it out every single month. So if you like this budget reconciliation sheet, this is a part of my budget package in my Etsy shop. I will link that down below if you are interested. It comes with this budget reconciliation sheet. It also comes with my monthly budget sheet that I share in my budget videos. I will link my October budget video here if you want to go check that out before you watch this video, if you haven't watched it already. And then it also comes with a spending tracker as well. So I use all of those sheets in our budget to keep all of our budget items organized. So getting started, we have our income for this month. W-2 income, this is just our income from our regular salary jobs. My husband and I both work full-time outside of the home. So we had originally budgeted $8,900 for the month of October. It is a 5th paycheck month. We are both paid bi-weekly, which means that there was 5 Fridays in this month, which means that we did have an extra paycheck, which was awesome. So we budgeted accordingly at $8,900. That was what we were expecting. We did actually have some additional income come in outside of our 5th paycheck, which was also amazing. So we actually brought in $10,250. That is significantly higher than our normal budgeted amount, but super exciting. It is not very often that we are able to break $10,000 in a month, to be honest. That is, I don't know that that has happened this year, maybe in January. I'd have to look back, but definitely not a common occurrence. So that is a difference of $1,350 from what we had budgeted. I do round off our numbers just to the nearest dollar because it's easier for me, and that's actually how we do our budget anyway, because we do use a cushion, and so any of the excess money, like the dollars and cents that get dropped off, are just put towards our buffer amount. That's kind of how I keep a healthy buffer in our checking account at all times. And then we had the child tax credit. So we have been receiving this since July, I believe. So we had budgeted $550 and we had received $550, so that was awesome. Then we also had our side hustle income. So this is what we were able to bring in from side hustles. I go into depth in what this is in my October debt recap video that I linked earlier. So go check that out if you have not yet. I never budget anything for side hustle income, and we did bring in $658 from side hustle income this month. So very amazing income month. One of our best, if not our best, in 2021 so far. So that leaves us with a total income of $11,458. So now let's see what we did with that $11,000. Our first category is our mortgage. Obviously, we need to pay our mortgage for our home, $1,284, and actual $1,284. And that was at 11.2% of our income going to our mortgage. Then we had our cell phone bills. This is for both my husband and I's cell phone. We budgeted $140 and it was $140. So that was at 1.2% of our income. Next up, we have Netflix. We had budgeted 15, spent 15. I think it's actually like $14.85 or something. Like I said, we just round off to make it easier. Honestly, I'm not trying to write any dollars and cents out here because that would just be way too confusing, and it's just easier to round it. And honestly, like I said, it's better for our budget as well because it just gives us an additional amount of money that is just being put into our buffer. So $41 for Peloton. That is 0.4% of our income. We do have a Peloton bike. It is paid in full. As far as the bike, we don't have any like payments on the bike itself. That's just for the subscription. Then we have our internet, which was $60. So that was good. That is at 0.5% of our income. Had preschool. So my daughter is in a part-time preschool program. We had budgeted $655 again because there was the 5 weeks. We did have an additional week of preschool this month, so we did budget a little bit higher. We actually only spent $589. So we had one day where my daughter was not able to attend her preschool because of COVID. They had a teacher that was out and they had to just completely close her room. And so they were nice enough to credit us that day, so we did not have to pay for one day. So this is a credit for one day of her not attending her preschool program. So that was, not a super fun surprise because obviously we had planned on her going to daycare that day, but we did get a little bit of money back from that. So, it all ended up working out anyways. And then we had our electric bill. So I did budget $200. I always pretty much budget $200 just to keep it the same. October is typically our lowest bill, which it was again this year, $122. That is pretty much the lowest that our bill ever gets. I think that might actually be the lowest our bill has ever gotten. We live in an older house, and so it's not super energy efficient, unfortunately. So our bills tend to be pretty high in the winter time. So the next few months will definitely be higher than that, but that's okay. We recuperated $78 into our budget from that. And I did get it is a pretty common question that I get when I film these videos, why we don't do budget billing, or if we're offered that. We actually are offered budget billing. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. I would just prefer to pay in the month that we owe, exactly what we owe. That's just, for me, just an easier way to do it. I kind of budget bill myself with our budget by just budgeting the same amount every month and then just kind of paying myself back. I don't know. That's just what works for us. Let me know in the comments down below if you use budget billing and how you feel about it. It's not something that I'm absolutely not gonna do ever, I guess I would say. I would be open to it, but it's just something that I've never done because it's just, in my mind, easier for us to just pay what we owe every single month and not have to worry about them readjusting the amount every year, or I think it's actually every 6 months for us because we do live in such a varying weather climate. I mean, we get all the way from over 100 degrees in the summer to negative 40, 50 wind chill in the winter. So we have very wide swings, and so our bills do tend to be very variable. So that's just my thoughts on that. Let me know though. I would be very curious if you feel like there is a reason that we should do it, or if you enjoy it and why you do. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I've honestly not really talked to that many people about it before. Gas, we budgeted $125 and we spent $89. That was a little bit higher, but I think last month we did not fill up. I think I had started the month on an empty tank, so we did have 3 fill-ups. Normally we've been having 2, honestly. So $89, we were still under budget on that, which was awesome. So $36 additional in our budget from being under on our gas. That is at 0.8% of our income. Let's see here. Next up, we have groceries, which if you have followed me for a while, we did just raise this up a couple of months ago from $500 to $550. Honestly, you guys, the groceries out here are really crazy right now. I don't know if you're feeling it as well. Again, leave me a comment down below and let me know if you are feeling the pain of groceries, because seriously, it is virtually impossible for us to even stick to this budget. So we did go over a little bit. And honestly, you guys, that was with diligent planning this month. I feel like I did a pretty good job of planning. It was a little bit of a longer month, so that might be part of it as well, but it is what it is. So we were negative in that category, $28. It's fine. Moving on, because it's frustrating, but it is what it is. There's honestly nothing that we can do to control the cost of groceries right now, except for just try to do our best to meal plan, and I will be focusing on that in November very heavily because I don't want to be going over this budget every single month, but at some point we'll probably have to raise it again, if I'm being honest, because the grocery prices are just insane. So miscellaneous, we budgeted $250 for this month. We did budget a little bit higher than normal for the month of October because we did have Halloween. So we bought our kids a couple of costumes as well as some candy and stuff, the Halloween extras. So we did actually go a little bit over $256, so barely over budget for that. I'm really happy with that. We did again have the extra expenses of Halloween, and then I actually also paid for a year of Epidemic Sound. I did just pay that out of here that is a business expense that I can, use for tax purposes for my YouTube channel, because that is where I use my music from. However, I did just pay it out of our regular budget for now. So that was, I think, additional like $140 for a year. I was paying it monthly, but I just decided to go for the year. So I'm actually really happy with how little we went over in that category because of that. That was definitely an expense that we did not have necessarily in our budget, but I knew we would have the room for it. So I just went ahead and paid that out of here. So next we have dining out. We had budgeted $200 and we went over this category too. $238, I feel like the prices of eating out have also gone up, you guys. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about that. We went over $38. I'm not like too upset about that. Honestly, it's fine. We went a little bit over, but it is what it is. And next we have our sinking funds. So if you watched my November budget, I will link it if you have not watched that video yet. I did talk a little bit about our sinking funds and what our plan for the rest of the year for our sinking funds is. And we are just going to be not funding them as heavily for the remainder of the year to focus more so on debt. So I actually started that this month. I did not send what we had originally planned to our sinking funds for all of them. So we had initially planned 50 for car, 50 for kids, 100 for home, 100 for vacation, and 50 for Christmas. So I actually sent 50, 50, 50, 50 and 50. So I sent $50 to each of them. I did just cut it down because, again, when I went over that October budget, I was like, you know what? I don't want sinking funds to be our priority right now. I want debt payoff to be our priority. And I feel like I was putting more than I really needed to our sinking funds. So I just did cut it down just a little bit in these two categories. So it did just give us an additional $100 from what we had originally budgeted. Not a huge amount, but it is what it is. I just feel like I want to make debt a higher priority for us because we are very close to being debt free. We are currently at about $15,000 worth of debt. So, being this close to the finish line now, I just want to send everything that we can to debt. So that was just kind of a decision that we had made on the fly a little bit in the middle of the month. So you will see pretty much the same reflected for next month for our sinking funds. We're just not putting them as much of a priority. And then debt, we were able to send $7,650 to debt this month. If you watched my October recap, like I linked earlier, you would know that. And that was actually at 66.7% of our income. So super happy about that. If you have watched my channel before, we do tend to try to live on one income. So we try to live primarily on my husband's income and send my entire income to debt. That is something that we have been able to do in recent months. It's definitely not something that we've been able to do for our entire journey, but we have gotten to a point where we've gotten our expenses down so much that we have been able to do that in recent months. So that is obviously more than 50% because we did have that additional income. Any of our additional income that we get is going 100% to debt, so that kind of sways the percentage for where things are going. So I'm really happy with that this month. Obviously, debt is our priority, and that is reflected in our budget, and that's something that I think is important to make sure that you're paying attention to when you do these recaps is your spending tracking with your financial goals. Our biggest financial goal right now is to be debt free, and obviously more than half of our income, almost, two-thirds of basically two-thirds of our income is going to debt right now this month, and that is absolutely in line with our priorities. So definitely happy with overall how the month went. Very extremely happy with our extra income and so appreciative of it. I always want to make sure that I am being a good steward of our money and that we are using it wisely. And, that is not something that I've always done. So it's very important for me now to make sure that I am reflecting every single month and making sure that we are doing the right thing with this extra income that we are receiving for our family. So just a little recap here at the bottom. Total income, like I said earlier, was $11,458. That was from all of our different sources of income. That is everything that went into our account this month. Everything that went out of our account this month was $11,412. So we actually did underspend just a little bit. Our buffer, I like to just keep her at like $500 to $600. That's where I feel comfortable. So we did actually add $46 to our buffer, which, I may kind of tap into that next month. I don't know. We'll see. I like to have a few months of like beefing it back up and then kind of draining it down. And, I try to get it as like close as I can. But honestly, this month we had so many different things coming in and out of our account that it was hard for me in the moment to really know where we were at. So I didn't really know that we would have that much extra until I closed out our budget at the end of the month. So it's okay every once in a while to have a little bit extra. So we will just throw that into our buffer and then reevaluate that probably at the end of the year and see where we want to like baseline it again. And then we'll pull out whatever's extra. So that is where we're at for the month of October. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, these videos are my favorite videos to film because I just love reflecting on the month and sharing everything with you guys. I love being transparent with our numbers and just making you guys aware of where we're spending our money because it holds me accountable as well to have to explain to you why I'm going over on my eating out budget every single month. It's so painful, you guys. So make sure you give this video a like and feel bad for me for having to share the fact that we keep going over budget. Just kidding. But that is all I have for you guys today. I will see you back here for Debt Free Friday on Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you on Friday. Bye, guys.